All right, in this video, I am going to quickly go over the inequalities quiz review that you guys had for the qualifier and just make sure that for the questions that you missed, you feel comfortable with why you got them wrong. I'm going to go ahead and solve 1 and 2 real quickly, and we're going to see the answers show all possible solutions. For number 1, you divide both sides by the 12. That cancels out. And we have a negative 4. And since we did not divide both sides by a negative, we get to leave this symbol the same way that it was in the problem. This right here shows all possible solutions for n. Now for the next one, we're going to divide both sides by the coefficient, but this time the coefficient happens to be a negative. What that means, folks, is we're going to go ahead and turn the symbol around. Now that negative 3 divided by negative 3 cancels out, so we have a. And 36 divided by negative 3 is negative 12. So a is less than negative 12. Once again, what these do is these show all possible solutions when you write the answer like that. That means I'm going to go ahead and jump to question number 4, because question 4 also asks us for all solutions. So all we have to do is solve the inequality, and I'm going to just rewrite it right here real quick. We're going to multiply both sides by this negative 2 over 1. Multiply both sides by the negative 2 over 1. The inverse property of multiplication says that this will cancel out, and we have x all by itself. A positive 4 times a negative 2 is a negative 8. And we have to be careful here because we multiplied both sides by the negative 2. We have to flip the symbol around. So we're looking for x is less than negative 8. Careful, what I think some of you did was that when you saw the half and the 4, you took a negative half of 4, and some of you picked either A or B. Because we have a coefficient that's a fraction, we do the opposite, and the opposite of taking a half is the multiplying both sides by 2 over 1. All right, now I'm going to go back over here to number 3. For number 3, first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to rewrite the problem so that I have a 10m over here. The alligator symbol is eating the 10m, and then I have a negative 50. So now when we solve, we divide both sides by the 10. That cancels out, and m is greater than or equal to the negative 5 that we get when we divide. So now over here, when we're picking our answers, we want anything that's bigger than or equal to negative 5. So negative 5 is equal to, and then positive 5 and negative 2, those are the values that would work. Now another strategy for a question like number 3 is to simply take all of the answer choices and plug them in. So let's start with A. If we take A and plug it in right there, we want to know if that answer is going to be bigger than or equal to the 50. This is a negative 100. And we know that that is a false statement. Negative 100 is not bigger than negative 50. So when I plug in A, I do not get a true statement. Now let's see what happens when I plug in B, the negative 2. So I've got 10 times the negative 2, and we're going to check to see if that's bigger than or equal to the negative 50. Now when I multiply 10 times negative 2, I get a negative 20, and that is bigger than or equal to the negative 50. So B will work. Now all I'm going to do is plug in answer choice C real quick. When we plug in answer choice C, the negative 5, we get a negative 50. And you can see that that's a true statement because of the or equal to. And for the last one, when we plug in this positive 5, the positive 5 times 10 is 50. And a positive 50 is always going to be bigger than a negative 50. So B, C, and D are the true statements there. All right, now down to number 5. Which value makes this a true statement? So same thing as number 3. You have the option to plug them all in, or you could just simply solve. If we solve this inequality by dividing both sides by the negative 4, we get K is less than, we flip the symbol, and 12 divided by this negative 4 is negative 3. So now let's come over here and pick one that's actually less than negative 3. And the only answer over here, folks, that's less than negative 3 is A. Some of you picked B. Let me show you why B would not work. If we take B and plug it in, we get a negative 4 times a negative 3, which is a positive 12. But that's not bigger than 12. That's not a true statement. So we need something that's going to be bigger than 12 when we plug it in, like the negative 4, which gives us a 16. And now the 16 is bigger than the 12. All right, now we're going to go over number 6. So for number 6, the thing that confused some of you is that it has equal signs right here. Number 6 is the same kind of problem as number 5. It's the same kind of problem. It's asking which one of these, when you plug it in, gives you a true statement. So I'm going to say, let's just go over here and solve it. We're going to divide by a negative coefficient, which means we're going to flip the symbol. This cancels out, and we get u is less than negative 6. Now over here, when you come pick, the only one that is less than negative 6 is going to be the negative 7, okay? Now for those of you who would have picked C, just be careful. If you plug in answer choice C, negative 6 times negative 6, you get a positive 36. And that's not bigger than the 36. So we need to plug in something that's going to be a little bit bigger. So like the negative 7, let's see what happens. Negative 6 times negative 7 is a positive 42, and now that's bigger than the 36. So D was the correct answer for this one. Now for number 7, I accidentally gave you guys your packets with this problem cut off, and I told you the other day that this was going to be the problem for number 7, so that when we solve it by dividing by the negative, that cancels out, we flip the symbol, A is less than positive 1. Now unfortunately, some of you picked this answer right here, but the only one that is less than 1 would be D. That means we can ignore the typo right here where B and C went out of order. That won't even matter or impact our answers here because it's not going to be C. All right. Also, to check when you plug it in, negative 2 times 0 is 0, and that is bigger than the negative 2. That'll check out. All right. Now, chances are if you missed a problem or more than one problem on the qualifier, it was a problem that I've just reviewed. So this next part of the video is going to move pretty quickly. For number 8, we divide both sides by the negative 6, and that cancels out. So we turn the symbol around, and a positive 12 divided by a negative 6 is a negative 2. So for that one, we go over to the negative 2, and we have an open circle because it's just less than. And because it's less than, we're going to shade this away. All right? Now for number 9, when we drop the line and subtract to get rid of that constant, that cancels out, and we get that x is less than or equal to 5. Now real quick, I just want to review that some of you think because you see a negative here and a negative here, that you're supposed to flip. Nope. You're just subtracting 15 on both sides, y'all. You're not multiplying or dividing by a negative in this problem. So now we're going to come over here and we're going to go to the positive 5. And we're going to plot a circle that we color in because it's or equal to. And less than or equal to is going to go back in this direction. So that takes care of this page. Now let's flip over real quick. And up top for number 10, we've got a number line that shows the solution of x is less than 2. So real quick, let's solve A. If you have a negative 4x is greater than negative 8, then you divide both sides by the negative. When you flip the symbol, we get x is greater than 2, so we know it's not A. Now we're going to take a look at B and solve B. X over 3 is less than 6. So to solve this one, we multiply by the denominator. That cancels out. We can leave the symbol alone because there's no negative involved. And we're going to get x is less than 18. So we know it's not B. Now let's take a look at answer choice C. For answer choice C, we have x plus 5 is less than 7. So you subtract 5 from both sides. That cancels out. X is less than 2. And that matches up with the graph. So the answer to number 10 was C. And for the last problem here on the qualifier, For number 11, when you divide by the negative 10 and divide by the negative 10 and that cancels out, you flip your symbol. K has to be greater than negative 3, y'all. So the only ones over here that are bigger than negative 3 are going to be the 6. Okay? This problem, it asks which value. That lets you know that you're going to be picking one answer. I'm going to go back real quick to the other page. For number 3, it had said select all values, so you knew there was possibly going to be more than one answer. For number 5, it said, let's erase it so that we can make sure. It said which value, so you knew that there was only going to be one right answer. Same for number 7, which value, there was one right answer. Now for number 4, it had asked for all of the possible solutions, and that just means to solve the inequality and just write the answer, x is greater than or less than whatever the number is. All right, so that takes care of going over the qualifier, and at this point you can move into the quiz if you need to.